Boy, oh boy, lots has happened. Welcome back. My name is Anna. I think I started this channel in 2014 or 2015 when I was 18 or 19. And I started talking here about my mental health journey. At the time, it was primarily depression. And I was so scratching the surface at the time of my issues. I really didn't even know what the heck was going on. So it's funny now, sometimes if I look back on the videos, I was like, oh, honey, you had no idea what you were really dealing with because you hadn't really uncovered the trauma. Because since then, my main issue really has been PTSD and complex PTSD. And just from multiple events, childhood trauma just is a bitch, as we know. And I think that it's just very interesting to look back on like the very beginning stages of when you started to get sick and what you thought you were sick about and what was a big deal at the time. And I'm not minimizing what I was going through at all. It was a big deal at the time, the issues that I had. But it's just kind of funny that like I thought that those were the main problems, but it was really what was underneath those problems and like what was triggering my real responses to the problems that were happening when I was 18 or 19. So that's really interesting. But I'm here coming back to this channel because I've always wanted to, honestly. And it never really felt like the right time, but I don't think it's ever really going to feel like the right time. And I feel like right now is like enough of the right time for it to feel like the right time because I do feel like I have stuff to say. So, YouTube has missed a lot in terms of like my YouTube audience has missed a lot. So, there's so much that we can talk about, and I can maybe do story times and we can talk and chat. But one thing that I do want to talk about is that I am getting divorced right now. I'm going through a divorce, and I think that getting divorced and leaving an abusive relationship is, and I'm not saying I never ever want to drag anyone's name through the mud, and I never want to have any bad blood with anybody. I still love this person. I still care about this person. And I do think that, both mental health issues, codependency, everything played a part. Okay. So I'm not trying to put this person down or drag this person. We all play a part in everything that goes wrong in relationships. And this is not to say anything bad about this person. This is about sharing my experience to help other people. Because I have always personally thought that I go through so much shit that it would be kind of a waste if I didn't share it to help other people. Because at some point it's like it's just laughable sometimes. This is the stuff that I've been through. And it's like, what's the point if I'm gonna be in this much pain? I want something good to come out of the pain, basically. So, unfortunately, that is what's happening in my life right now, and that's what I'm dealing with. So, I think what I wanted to just do today was just to come back and reintroduce myself. I'm Anna. I'm now 29 years old, so it's been about 10 years. I think I did some intermittent videos in between when I thought maybe I can do this again, but it wasn't the right time. I'm getting a divorce. I'm learning how to be on my own. I'm learning how to form healthy relationships. And, it's not going super great. I feel I had been with that person from ages 21 to 29. So 8 years of really formative years for me. And he was really my first and only boyfriend, right? So I think that was really, something that a little bit stunted my growth in terms of like getting out of that situation and then trying to go back into the real world as like a single 29-year-old woman has been very hard for me. Some of the things that I've been doing recently, though, has been reading self-help books and memoirs about women who have been abused. I have read, I think it was like Love Isn't Supposed to Hurt, or if he loves me so much, then why does it hurt so bad? Things like that. And I'll really write down things that resonate with me, and I have an Instagram that I will link that is, I think, different than any social medias that I've linked before, that I'm, sharing some of my poetry. I'm going to get back into blogging, but on a different blog, because my Craziness Uncensored got taken down. My roots there, I'm really thinking that I'm going to find these old posts again. But yeah, so I read these books, I relate to these books, and then I, will do a little video diary, kind of thinking like, okay, how can I relate to this, and how can I maybe share it in another way, in other words, and kind of, re-explain. So I do things like that. And then I also, I'm in trauma therapy. I'm currently doing TMS, or transcranial magnetic stimulation, because that has worked for me in the past, about it's kind of like a step down from ECT or shock therapy, if you are familiar with like magnetizing like the left side of my brain to get like underactive parts of my brain more active. So, taking away suicidality, and not taking away, but like it helps, and it's helped in the past. So hopefully that works out for me. Kind of taking a step back away from my professional jobs and professional, life, to do other sorts of jobs, and, really reflect, have some fun on social media. That's been very fun for me. I also am reading poetry books and going through old journals, or like current journals, and finding writing. And, it's funny, I go through this journal that I had from, some of the beginning of my marriage, and I'll see stuff that is indicative of abuse, or me being unhappy. And, again, I'm not trying to say anything bad about my husband at the time or anything like that. It's just like, it's scary to think that, like, wow, this was really happening. And, I wasn't like equipped to deal with this at all. But these are what I'm kind of focusing on right now, is Born to Love, Cursed to Feel. I did a little Instagram review on this a while ago, like several years ago, when I first read it. But it's basically about being in love with someone that you can't have. And I also am reading Vulnerable as Fuck, or AF, which is basically talking about infatuation versus love, and we're talking about infatuation. I'd love to read little excerpts of these in YouTube videos, and do my kind of like takes on it, or like my thoughts. But I just kind of wanted to reintroduce myself today. So I think that has happened. I've also finished my schooling. So I did a bachelor's in psychology. I did a master's in applied behavior analysis, and worked as a behavior therapist with kids with autism for a while. I just adore kids. Being a safe person for kids, honestly, has been the biggest blessing in my life, and the biggest way that I have found meaning. And then I am one class away from my special ed, or intervention specialist, for mild to moderate needs in K through 12. So that's very cool too. So yeah, a lot has happened. And if you have any questions about where I've been or what I've been up to, I'm so down to answer any of these questions. I'm down to take any video requests. What I'm kind of thinking is like reading poetry, reflecting on poetry books, having kind of ranty little talks about like things that, are too long for my like Instagram short form content, or just kind of thoughts that I'm, thinking of sharing, and I'll just share here. And as well as kind of like story times, and like if anyone can take something away from a story time. So those are kind of what I'm thinking of doing. I'm very much more of a sit down person. I'm not really like a vlogger. I don't think that I have the artistic aesthetic thing in me to, the most aesthetic thing I can do is buy a fake plant, to be honest. Um, but yeah, so that's me. That's Anna at 29. I'd love to re-get to know all of you guys that have watched my videos in the past, because you were like really growing up with me and seeing me at a really dark time in my life, and I feel like I'm very different now, but I, obviously am a lot a bit of the same, but I'm just older now, so a 10-year difference. There's a lot of growth and there's a lot of realizations that have happened. So I'd love to talk to you guys, like I said, and thank you so much for watching. I will link my social media down below, and I look forward to making more videos. Thank you so much.